Going inside the issues of our community. This is Local 12 Newsmakers.
This investment is a win-win. Teacher salaries are increased, student achievement is improved, and the taxpayer gets a good deal.
I'm not going to say I'm disappointed because I'm beyond that. Actually, I'm angry. We've been promised a museum here at Big Boone for more than 45 years.
Good morning and welcome to Local 12 Newsmakers. Currently, the Kentucky legislature is in session. Ohioans may not appreciate what that means. In Ohio, the General Assembly can go in and out of session almost at will. In Kentucky, the legislature is in session for only a very defined and relatively brief periods. The current regular session runs for 56 days through April the 11th. On Tuesday night, Governor Fletcher delivered his proposed budget, and various groups and regions found out just how much or how little clout they have. Local 12 reporter Joe Webb prepared this background report about Northern Kentucky.
Governor Fletcher was both Santa Claus and Grinch last night when it came to Northern Kentucky's budget wish list. Northern Kentucky University is set to get $17 million to renovate the Student Union and $14 million to revamp the old science building, now called Founders Hall. Gateway Community and Technical College is budgeted for $26.6 million to build a new center for manufacturing competitiveness on its Boone County campus.
This will be a one-stop facility that manufacturers can come for training and retraining, that individuals can come to us and become trained to enter the workforce, or individuals who have been laid off in other areas can come and get retooled to take these kind of jobs.
All the budget items must be approved by the General Assembly.
Not everyone in Northern Kentucky got what they asked for. The city of Covington was hoping the state would pay for about half the cost of the Time Star Commons project, which would get rid of most of this block in downtown, but the governor said no.
Time Star Commons would create a farmers market and commons area between Scott and Madison between 4th and 5th. The city of Covington asked for $17 million of the $32 million expected cost, and they're not giving up.
We're going to move on with this project even if it's not here. Maybe we don't get budget money this year. There's always next year, plus we're looking at other funding sources.
Covington will continue to lobby the state for the money. So will a lot of others. Joe Webb, Local 12.
To talk about the Kentucky budgeting process from the perspective of our region, I am joined this morning by Gary Moore, the Boone County Judge Executive. And Gary, welcome back to Newsmakers. And this is an interesting time for everybody in Kentucky and everybody in Northern Kentucky. Let's start with some big picture elements here, because people may not, a lot of our audience may not understand the political dynamics of Kentucky. Is this a budget that is best understood on partisan terms, Republican and Democratic, or is there another way to understand what's going on here?
It's a very interesting dynamic that's taking place. First of all, you have a governor, the first Republican governor in over 30 years that was elected, and elected with a lot of support from Northern Kentucky, from the metro areas. He was a congressman in the Lexington area prior to being governor, Governor Fletcher. So there was this hope, and we're seeing progress. But a move from a rural Kentucky legislature to issues that affect metro or urban areas. Kentucky's legislature is still controlled by the rural legislators, and more areas like Louisville, Lexington, and Northern Kentucky are banding together and working in a collaborative way and breaking down those party lines of Republican and Democrat. So I think it's going to be a rural versus metro legislature in a few years rather than Democrat versus Republican.
Let's take a look at that a little bit. When you say rural, in Kentucky, there are a lot of counties in Kentucky, 120, which my understanding is it's second or third most counties in any state in the union. I know Texas is ahead, and maybe Georgia, who knows. But where is the growth? Where's the economic strength of Kentucky in those 120 counties?
Yeah, there are 4 counties now that produce half of the state's revenue, and the other 116 produce the other half. Those 4 counties are Jefferson, which is Louisville, Fayette County, which is Lexington, Boone County is the 3rd, and Kenton County, which where Covington is the 4th. And those 4 produce half the state's revenue.
Looking at this budget in the big picture, not looking at specific Northern Kentucky projects that people were hoping for, or are hoping for. But the big picture, how did things that Northern Kentuckians would be concerned about, education, schools, health care, how do you evaluate this proposal by the governor?
Well, I don't envy the governor's position at all, because he went into this budget preparation with a $700 million deficit when it came to Medicaid. Many other huge issues, teacher salaries. The state retirement system has not been funded in the last 15 years, fully funded. It continues to rack up debt. So a lot of these issues are coming to a head, and unlike past budgets where the governor can walk in like Santa Claus and start handing out all these projects, he is strapped with what he has the ability to do. With that said, they've been very frugal and have come up actually with some additional funds, $120 million just announced last week that they found in savings. So that has helped some. But we've had successes and we've had some failures. Gateway was a success. It was not recommended. The Gateway campus in Boone County, the Center for Manufacturing Excellence I'm referring to.
Which Joe talked about.
That's right. That was not recommended by the Council on Higher Education in their budget request. It got left off the list. And we were able, through lobbying, through working with the governor, to convince him to add that to his budget. So that's a huge win, even though it wasn't fully funded. The request was $35 million, and in his budget there's $26.6. But that was a huge win. On the other side of the spectrum, Big Bone Museum and some land acquisition around Big Bone has been something that, as Don Clare said, that's been pushed for 15 years. And we thought it was in the budget, and at the end it dropped out.
You know, people may not know how important that site. And I'm going to take off my reporter hat and talk a little bit as a historian. And I actually was on a exhibit design team probably 12, 15 years ago for Big Bone Lick. That is one of the most important sites in the United States in terms of the history of science. And not only haven't they built that museum, but many of the artifacts, many of the bones aren't in Kentucky, and where they are won't give them back because Kentucky won't build a museum that can properly care for them. I mean, it really is a tragedy here.
That's exactly right. Meriwether Lewis of Lewis and Clark Expedition stopped at Big Bone, collected bones for President Jefferson, and took those bones back to the White House where Jefferson displayed them there and in Monticello. And I mean, it was that significant that they took time out of their journey to stop there to collect these mammoth bones. The bones now are on display in Nebraska and in France and around the world, and we cannot bring them back to the site without a museum. And
can't bring them back because those facilities that are professionally run don't trust Kentucky to care for their own heritage. And that's a tough thing to realize and come to grips with. So that's one that you care about. It may sound like, oh, it's frivolous, but as Judge Executive, you care about that one.
Oh, very much. It is very important. You know, Boone County is growing so quickly. We're growing by 11 people a day. We were 59th in the nation last year. Well, that's a 4-year average that we were 59th in the nation as far as fastest growing counties. In addition to the museum and its importance, the land is being consumed around the park. In 1972, there was a master plan done that shows the park having well over 1,000 acres, and today it's nowhere near that and has not been added to since 1972.
What does, aside from the museum, what does Boone County need out of this budget, and either what were you disappointed in or what are you still hoping might come through for you?
Well, Gateway, again, was a great win because it touches so many segments. It's an educational project, it's an economic development project, it touches a lot of at-risk population, adult education. It was a great win for our area. Because of the growth that I spoke of, roads are our greatest need. Congestion just continues to mount on the state highways. A lot of people, they'll drive down a road like Pleasant Valley Road or North Bend Road or Mount Zion Road and not realize that those are state highways. And those projects are going to be very expensive. Most of them are anywhere from $20 to $30 million to improve. So we're very anxious for the governor's 6-year road plan portion of the budget to come out next week. That's not
in this proposal yet.
So we have high hopes for what might be in the road plan. Other than that, school funding is the other hot spot. Right now in Boone County, which is one of the wealthier counties in the state, more affluent, we have 16 portable class mobile trailers because we don't have enough buildings. In each one of those trailers, there's 4 classrooms. So you have, 68 classrooms in mobile trailers in Boone County because buildings, you can't afford to build the buildings or you can't build them quick enough. And we need help with that.
And just again, for all of our Ohio viewers, that all is handled in Kentucky. The state is much more responsible for that than the local community. That's really where that money has to come from, right?
That's correct. And it's very frustrating for people like Mayor Callery in Covington, Mayor Gaduli, Newport, and the judge executives of the 3 counties. Kentucky ranks 5th highest in the centralization of revenue, where all tax dollars are pulled to Frankfort and then redistributed. And with the rural legislature, they're redistributed somewhere else. Boone County gets back about 29 cents of every dollar that's collected from Boone Countyans.
29 cents?
Of every 29%.
29%
of every dollar is brought back. 71% is spent somewhere else.
One of the things, and I know you're not the mayor of Covington, but there is this discussion about redevelopment in the center of Covington, the farmers market and whatever. How important, and let me ask the question this way, do the Northern Kentucky elected officials get together and have some prioritization about what they want and are asking for? Now, I understand that the total laundry list was like $250 million. Everybody knows that's not going to happen. But is there some sort of local effort to prioritize?
Yes, there is, and it's done better than any other part of the state. We're commended regularly by the governor's administration, not only this one, but past ones, and the legislators. The chamber kind of heads up the process, but it reaches beyond the chamber. It's the consensus committee, and it's made up of local officials at the city and county level, special districts like water and sewer districts, the corporate community, average citizens come together, and we hear presentations from every community, and those projects are grouped. Some don't make it into the list. Now, we'll break it down to category. If they're educational projects, we'll put them over here. If it's water, sewer infrastructure, we'll put it over here. If it's roads, it's another silo. So they don't compete against each other. But we will give them our list of what is most important.
In a prioritized manner.
We don't put a 1, 2, 3. We put them into categories, and we'll have 4 or 5 projects in each category, and then let politics take over from there, but which sometimes can be dangerous. But Big Bone was a recommended project this year.
Speaking of politics, the governor's presentation the other night was just a presentation. That was the governor's idea. It's now goes to the legislature. What happens now? You know, politics takes over. What happens? What do you do? What do other Northern Kentucky officials do? What do people now do?
Well, it's time to lobby the legislators, our House members and our Senate members. I spoke to Don Clare the same day that he did the interview that we just saw on the phone, and he is very, very upset. And he's, basically saying, well, once again, it hasn't happened. And I encourage Don not to give up. And I know Don, and I know that he won't. He and Pat Lentz, who's president of Friends of Big Bone, they have been unwavering in their work and their support. And what I'm encouraging them to do now is work with our legislators. We have an excellent chance, I think, in the House of Representatives because Paul Marcotte, Paul is retiring. This is his last session after many years in the legislature, and he has a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle, and this is his legacy project. He wants this project done, and I think that may fare well for us in the House.
I'm just about out of time. Is this the sort of thing that individuals out there can write their legislators and have influence?
You bet, and if they have contacts with legislators from other counties or other regions, that's even better. But yes, it is time to do that.
Thank you, Gary. We'll be watching this process and see how it unfolds in the next 3 months, 3 or 4 months.
Thank
you
you
for being here. Stay tuned. After the break, Cincinnatians are attending the boat show. They've been getting their first close-up look at a renewed asset in Cincinnati that required a substantial state investment. The $160 million expansion and renovation of the Synergy Convention Center is nearing completion and making a statement on the skyline. What impacts has this new facility already had? What sort of target should we expect in coming years? Welcome back. For a year and a half, the Cincinnati Convention Center on Elm Street at 5th has been undergoing a major overhaul. That includes not only meeting and event space expansion, but major upgrades to basic systems. The justification for this project was the argument that the old center was no longer competitive in the market for the sorts of conventions that impact the regional bottom line. The test of the new center will be its ability to attract those high-value conventions and meetings. To discuss what has been accomplished in advanced booking and in prospects for the future, I am joined this morning by John Taylor, the chair of the Greater Cincinnati Convention and Visitors Bureau and the president of PNC Bank. John, welcome to Newsmakers.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
It is always exciting to see something new and actually bold on the Cincinnati skyline. And let's just start, because I showed a little video of Cincinnati spelled out. A lot of talk in the community, about this. What do you think? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think it looks great. I think it clearly makes an impression, and it makes a statement. It is bold, it's bright, and I think it shows the investment that we're making in the core of downtown Cincinnati and the region. So I couldn't be any happier with it. I think it's a great statement.
There's the local boat show and whatever is on now, but this isn't, the convention center is not yet finished, right? The renovation is not yet finished. Where do we stand in that process? We're fairly close?
We're close. We're 80% complete at this point, this juncture, and we're within budget. And expecting the grand opening completion in the middle part of this year, in the June-July timeframe. So everything is really right on track at this point.
So you're on time?
On time, on budget.
What about, within that budget, there was also a promise, a goal set for small businesses to be involved, and many of those, of course, being minority businesses. How have you done with meeting those targets?
Those targets have been met as well, and we couldn't be any more proud with that. Economic inclusion is an important component so that everybody feels included in the process. We've met all the targets, and the really credit goes to the city and Mark McKillop's staff for meeting those targets. So we're on mark there too.
We'll have Mark McKillop on. He, as we were talking beforehand, is on vacation this week.
Yeah.
So
wish I was with him to tell you the truth.
That's right. We'll get back at him later. But what is there's obviously raw space, but I also said that there were new systems. What's important there from not the people who own the building, but from the people who are going to use the building? What can you use to sell the building?
Yeah, this is an important point. It is all about the customer, taking care of the customer. And what we've done is we've made a $160 million investment in upgrading the product. And it's about the space, it's how the space is configured, it's about the lighting, it's about the experience. And really, we've done just a fabulous job of making sure that when that client steps in the building, they're going to get an experience that they otherwise couldn't get from our competitive set. It is all state-of-the-art. The building will flow much better than it flowed before. The space is set up in a more efficient and effective way for the client.
One of the things that always was very convincing to me when there was the discussion about the need to do this several years ago when we were going through that was recognizing that the whole communications expectations, systems that we expect today that are very much a part of any professional meeting or convention that you go to today. The old convention center couldn't handle that. Are we up to date on that?
We're very much up to date. We're on the forefront of the technology that has moved at light, no pun intended, but it moved at light speed from when we last did a renovation or a major extensive renovation. So we've upgraded the electricals, the telecommunication, as I said, the lighting and alike, which is a requirement if you're going to win business from competitive cities. So we now are in a very competitive position.
You referenced competitive cities, competitive set, you said in an earlier sentence. Who are our competitors?
Well, it really, in the configuration today with the expansion, we're set up to meet the needs of 75% of the business in the United States that would be out there from a convention, large group and convention meeting standpoint. So we can meet the needs of 75% of the marketplace. 25% would be in markets like New York or Las Vegas that have bigger venues that we couldn't accommodate. But for 75% of the business now, we have an opportunity to accommodate them.
Now, my memory of this whole discussion and the lead up to this is there's certain types of conventions that are more desirable because they bring people in to the city from the outside. Absolutely. And they also bring people in who have the capability of spending a lot of money while they are here.
You've got it. High
value conventioneers. What types of groups, and do we have any of those under contract yet?
Yeah, that's a great point. What we've been doing parallel to the building being renovated and brought up to the standards, these incredible standards. At the same time, the Bureau, the Greater Cincinnati Convention and Visitors Bureau, has been going through a planning process. And we're about ready to complete a strategic plan that puts us in a position to go after that attractive type of business that we want to bring to the city. And it's not difficult to understand, but clearly we want folks that are going to come to our community, that are going to stay for an extended period of time, that are going to take discretionary income and spend it in our restaurants and shops and retailers throughout the community.
They have travel budgets.
You bet, you bet. So we're really getting very good and focused on that type of client.
Conventions book years in advance. Are we seeing, have we already seen an increase? Have we been able to project out and get people on the calendar?
Yeah, we're really excited about what just took place in 2005. We exceeded our room night goal of over 150,000 room nights that are committed. But more impressive and exciting is the fact that our tentative bookings, those clients or prospective clients that have said, we are definitely interested in Cincinnati as a venue for our convention, has picked up by almost 78%. So, and we traditionally convert 25% of those tentatives to business, and that's from 2006 out through 2010, 11, as you mentioned. This is a long sales cycle for us, but you got to get it in the pipeline, or you can't get it into the business.
When the building comes online mid-year, as you were saying, are there things already booked for the fall? Are there good conventions already booked?
We've got an exciting list of conventions that are scheduled to be here in 2006, including the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives are coming. In one of the first major conventions for us with 4,500 room nights that will take place in July of 2006. We've got 40,000 room nights that are already booked associated with conventions in our new expanded facility in 2006. So we're up and running and ready to go in this year.
Do a lot of those potential customers need to see the actual facility? Do they need for you to get it finished before they'll make that final commitment?
No, we've already booked business in the expanded convention center. They've come to the marketplace and they've seen the work that's going on, and they're already excited about it and committing to the business. So we don't have to actually have the final product done to sell it. We're selling it right now with good progress.
Only got about a half a minute left, but how should we measure success here? How should we, X number of conventions, X number of hotel nights?
Well, the best way is how many conventions associated with how many hotel room nights we sell. because everything falls from that.
And in your strategic plan, do you have numbers to those?
You bet we do.
Okay, we'll get you back on those, and we'll get you. Thank you. Congratulations on what you've accomplished, and good luck on the next. Thank you for making Newsmakers a part of your Sunday morning. Join us again next week to meet the women and the men shaping our community for the future. Have a good week.
Great.